Right, this is a recreation of today's AQA GCSE Foundation Maths Paper 1 for 2025. Based on what students have reported, this is fair use for educational purposes. So, first few questions. What is the next number in the sequence? I'm going up in threes here, so that should be 13. The next number in this sequence, well, that's doubling, so double 16 is 32. The next number in this sequence, that's going down by 6 each time. So that should be minus 4. Right, work out 3 times minus 6. That's minus 18. Next, you had a selection of numbers. Well, that's what people have told me. And I was asked to find a multiple of 5. Well, multiples are more. My multiple of 5 is going to be 15. Then a factor of 40. Factors are fewer, so this is a nice number that fits inside 40, fits inside nicely, so that'd be 8. A prime number, so that's a number that's got no factors other than 1 in itself, so that'd be 13. And a square number, so that's a number times by itself, so 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm seeing that we've got 6 times 6 there, which is 36. Right, then we had a pictogram about the endings of street names. So I've got my pictogram, and I was told that 48 end in close. How many end in avenue? So if 48 end in close, this is worth 48, which means that each one of these must be worth 24. So that's 24 per circle. So if I'm looking at how many end in avenue, that must be 24 there plus a quarter of 24, so that'd be 6. So I think that there are 30 that end in avenue. Right, then you had a graph. This is apparently what the graph looked like. You'll have to bear with me if it's not. I'm afraid this is just what I've been told. So, yellow and red paint make orange paint. Got a graph. Ola uses 5 litres of yellow paint. How much red? So actually, if you read across from 5 litres of yellow, it should have come down to about 4 litres of red. Pip uses 10 litres of yellow. How much orange does he make? So 10 litres of yellow, if I read across to my line and then all the way down, that is 8 litres of red. So that is 10 litres of yellow plus 8 litres of red for 18 litres of orange. Right, a number divided by 8 is 43 with a remainder of 5. What is the number? Okay, so the first thing I would have done is 8 times 43. So I'll maybe set that out in my grid method. 43 times 8, 8 times 4, 8, 16, 32. And then 8 times 3 is 24. Add those together. So I'm at 344. We did have a remainder of 5, so I'm just going to add that on. 349. 200 toys bought at £4 each. Sold for £5 each. What's the least number of toys that need to be sold to make a profit? So if I'm buying 200 toys at £4 each, I think that is 200, not a pound sign there, 200 times £4. So 4 times 2 is 8, so I think that is £800 worth of toys. If I'm selling them for £5 each, well, I need to divide that by 5 to break even. So 800 divided by 5, 5's into 8 go once, which gets me 5. I've got 8, so that's 3 left over. 5's into 30 goes 6 times, 5's into 0 don't go, so that's 160 to break even, so 161 for a profit. Record sold costs £25 each. You can buy one and get one at half price. I want to buy 2 records. If I save £8 every Saturday, how many Saturdays do I have to save for? So first off, let's figure out how much it's going to cost me. Buy one and get one half price. So my whole price one is £25. My half price one is going to be half of £25. So I think that is £12.50. Add these together. I'm looking to get £37.50 all saved up. So now I want to see, right, so if I'm saving £8 a week, I want to know how many £8 are going to go into 37 quid. I could divide it by 8, but I'm not a massive number. I might as well go through my times table. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, not quite enough. So it's going to have to be 5 weeks. 5 weeks is going to take me to save up. By that stage, I'll have 40 quid and I will be able to buy my 2 records. Right, it says that the offer's only available for 1 week. How does this affect the number of Saturdays? It doesn't affect the amount of money that I'm saving, so that'll be exactly the same. Right, soup ingredients for 4 people. I've got them there. How many grams of lentils do I need for 10 people? Right, well, if 4 people is 170 grams of lentils, I'd be tempted to go for 2 people, because 4 doesn't go into 10 nicely, but 2 does. So let's have a little stop off at 2. So that's going to be half of 170. Half of 100 is 50. Half of 70 is 35. So I think that's 85 grams for 2 people. So if I want it for 10 people, this side is being times by 5. So I'm going to do the same to that side. If we're not sure, I'm going to set that out. So 85 times 5. 5 times 8 is 40. Bang a 0 on for that one. 5 times 5 is 25. So I think that is 425 grams. The next one, you had some numbered discs. What is the ratio of the total value of A to the total value of B in the simplest form? So first off, I'm just going to get the total. So 9 add 4 is 13. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I've got a total of 20 here. Now I'm going to add up my box B. So 9 add 1 is 10. 14, 18, 20, 23, 24, 25. So my ratio of A to B is going to be 20 to 25. These both divide through by 5. So that is going to be 4 to 5. 1 is picked at random from A. Find the probability that the number is greater than 6. So I've only got 5 numbers in there, so my bottom number of my fraction is going to be a 5. How many of those numbers are greater than 6? Well, that's just the 9. So that is 1 out of 5. So 1 out of 5 is greater than 6. Right, evaluate 2 lots of a squared plus 3a when a is 4. So I'm going to just write this out again to start with, just by putting my 4 in. So I've got 2 lots of 4 squared, add 3 times 4. So 4 squared is 16. Keep that bit of bracket there. Add on 3 times 4 is 12. 16 add 12 is 28. So I've got 2 lots of 28, which is 56. Right, the next one said, a diameter is drawn for you with a centre X, draw the circle. Well, a diameter goes from one side all the way through the centre to the other, so put the stabby bit of my compass on the X, draw the circle. I'd always advise spinning your page rather than spinning your compass, far easier. So that is what my circle should have looked like. Right, 240 trains a run. Sorry, there we go. An eighth of them are late. A company has charged 350 quid per late train. How big is the fine? So first off, I want to find an eighth of 240. So I'm going to do 240 divided by 8. 8s into 2 don't go, carry the 2. 8s into 24 go 3 times. So I think that is 30 trains I've got that are late. 30 trains that are late at 350 quid a piece. So I think that is 350 times 30. 3 times 3 is 9. Bang my zeros on, I've got 3 zeros to go on. 3 times 5 is 15 with 2 zeros to go on this one. So that is 9,000 add 1,500. So 0, 0, 5, 10, £10,500. Hot drinks are sold in a ratio of tea to coffee to hot chocolate is 3 to 5 to 2. 2,600 hot drinks are sold. How many were coffee? All right, well, if I've got 3 parts to 5 parts to 2 parts, I think that is 10 parts in total. So my 2,600 drinks divided into 10 parts would be 260 drinks per part. I've got 5 parts, which are my coffee part, so that is going to be 260 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10, bang my zeros on. 5 times 6 is 30, bang my 0 on. So I think that is 1,300, help if I could spell, coffees. Alright, question 13, I'm being asked to find x. I know that angles on a straight line add to 180, so the first thing I'm going to do is take that off of 180. So 180 take away 74. 0 take 4 would be negative, so I'm going to borrow. 10 take 4 is 6, 7 take 7 is nothing, so I've got 106 degrees left. So if 2x is equal to 106, by dividing by 2, I should get that x equals 53. Estimate by rounding to one significant figure. 1.98 times 3.82, add 6.75 squared. So first off, let's do them to one significant figure. That is going to be 2. That is going to be 4. That is going to be 7, not forgetting my squared. So, indices first, 7 times 7 is 49. Copy the rest of my stuff down. 2 times 4 is 8, so I've got 8 plus 49. So, 49 add 8, 57. Right, is it an overestimate or an underestimate? Give a reason. Well, I made that number bigger, I made that number bigger, I made that number bigger. So I'm saying that's an overestimate because I rounded all the numbers up. Right, a sphere has a diameter of 20 centimetres. Show that the radius is 10. Well, if I've got a sphere, it's very hard to draw a 3D one, but pretend that's 3D. If the diameter is 20 centimetres all the way across, the radius must be 10 centimetres. So I'm just going to write that 20 divided by 2 is 10. Volume of a sphere is given by 4/3 pi r cubed. Work out the volume in terms of pi. So, if my diameter is 20, my radius is 10. So that r is going to be 10. So I've got 4/3 times pi times 10 cubed. I'm going to forget about the pi for now and bang that on at the end because I'm giving it in terms of pi. So 10 cubed is 1,000. 10 times 10 times 10. So I've got 4/3 times 1,000. It's not very nice numbers for a non-calculator paper, I have to say. If I'm finding a fraction of amount, I'm going to divide by the bottom and times by the top. So 1,000 divided by 3 is 333.3 recurring. So I've got 4 lots of that, or 3 lots of that is 1,000. So just put another one of that on. So I would have my answer as 1,333.3 recurring pi centimetres cubed, if that wasn't written on the line, because I am doing a volume. Right, D equals 800 over W, where D is days and W is workers. A job needs completing in 20 days. How many workers do I need? Well, if the days is 20, let's fill that in. So I've got 20 equals 800 over W. So I'd be tempted to set this out as a solving. So I would times through by W. So I've got 20W equals 800. It's the W I want to find, so I'm going to get rid of this 20 by dividing by 20, which will give me W equals 800 over 20, which is the same as 80 over 2, which would be 40. So 40 workers. The job actually needs to be done in less than 20 days. How will this change the number of workers needed? Well, just thinking in a very realistic way, if I want it done quicker, I'm going to need more people, so I think I will need more workers. Right, a chord on a circle is it longer than the radius, equal to the radius, shorter than the radius, longer or equal or shorter than the radius? Well, a chord, if that's my circle, that could be a chord. This bit going through the circle, that could be a chord, that could be a chord, that could be a chord, that could be a chord. As long as it doesn't go through the centre and it goes all the way through the circle, it's a chord. So it could be short, it could be equal, it could be longer, so last one, it could be any of those things. A solid has a volume of 11 centimetres cubed, a density of 8.5 grams per centimetre cubed. Work out the mass. Well, density is the amount of mass per volume, or if you like it in the triangle, dmv. So I'm working out the mass. I need to times these two things together. So I'm going to do 11 times 8.5. So I'm going to pretend for a second they're whole numbers and do 11 times 85 and bang my decimal back in at the end. So 11 times 85. 8 times 1 is 8, bang my 2 zeros on. 8 times 1 is 8, just 1 0 to be banged on. 5 times 1 is 5, bang a 0. 5 times 1 is 5. So if I add that all up, am I still on shot? Yeah. 800 plus 80 plus 50 plus 5. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 935. Not forgetting I had one number behind the decimal in the question, so one number behind the decimal in the answer. That's in grams per cubic centimetre, that's in cubic centimetre, so my mass must be in grams, 93.5. Right, spread out a little bit there, didn't I? Two schools take tests. I've got this table that tells me about their mean marks and their range. On average, A had higher marks. I agree with that. The mean is the average, isn't it? So that is true. More students at school B. It's only telling me their average mark and their range, so I don't know, that might be true. I don't know if that's true. Got no idea how many students are there. School B had a greater spread of marks. Well, the range is to do with the spread of data, isn't it? So school B has got a bigger range, so that must be true. Right, 0.6 divided by 100 in standard form. So if I'm dividing by 100, I'm just going to move the decimal place back twice. So 0.6, 1, 2. Decimal's going to go there. So that is 0.006. If I'm writing that in standard form, that's going to be 6 times 10 to the power of... Right, if I wanted it there, it's gone 1, 2, 3. So I think that is 10 to the minus 3. Work out 40 times 30 times 10 to the power of 5. Answer in standard form. Well, 4 times 3 is 12. 2 zeros. 10 to the power of 5 is going to be added on 5 extra zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So remember, standard form, only one digit in front of the decimal. So I'm going to call that 1.2 times 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1.2 times 10 to the 8. Right, then we had a cuboid with a net that it was asking us to draw. So I've got this 2 by 3 by 5 cuboid. So this is my 3 by 5. So that bit is the same as that bit. I've got my 2 by 3 there. So that bit is that bit. And I've got that bit there. So that bit is that bit. So if I'm drawing the rest of my cuboid, I will use a ruler because that's what I should be doing, especially in the exam. I know we're just having a bit of a chat really about it, but I should be using my ruler. I've got my two sides that will come up. I've now got my other two sides that will come up if we think about that as the base. I just need to put my lid back on it. So my lid should look like that. Right, frequency diagram. I've got 330 year 10s and year 11s. The year 10s to the year 11s is 1 to 2, so for every 1 year 10 there's 2 year 11s. 125 win a medal. I'm guessing that's just in total. 73 who get a medal are year 11s, so actually let's put that straight in. So 73 year 11s get a total. Let's sort these out now. So I've got 3 parts in my ratio. So 330 divided by 3 is 110. So it's 1 part year 10s, so that's 110, to 2 parts year 11s, so that's 220. I know that's right because they add up to make that. So my year 11s who don't get a medal must be 220 take away 73, so 220 take away 73. 0 take 3 would be negative, so borrow. 10 take 3 is 7. 1 take 7 would be negative, so I'm going to borrow. 11 take 7 would be 4, so 147. If I add them up, does it get me that? 50, yes, cracking. So then, going back up here, 125 win a medal in total. I've got 73 with a medal there, so let's do 125 take away 73. 5 take 3 is 2, and then 2 take 7 would be negative, so borrow, but it's still just 12 take 7, 3, 4, 5, so that must be 52 who win a medal. These two should add up to 110, because that's how many year 10s I've got. So last little bit of working out, 110 take away 52. 0 take 2 would be negative, so borrow. 10 take 2 would be 8. And then if I borrow again there, 10 take 5 would be 5, so that should be 58. And then they add up to 110, which makes me feel really confident about things. Right, 23, I've got some fractions. I've got an add and I've got a divide, so this is definitely a BidMaths question. So I'm going to do my divide first. So a fifth divided by a half. When I'm dividing fractions, a KFC, keep, flip, change. So keep, flip, and change. 1 times 2 is 2. 5 times 1 is 5. So that's that bit done. So if I rewrite my question out, I've got 4/15, add on my answer that I've got to this divide, which is 2/5. If I'm adding fractions, I need a common denominator. This is quite nice that I can put them both over 15. 15 goes into both numbers, so that is staying the same. That has been times by 3, so I'll do the same to the top. 2 times 3 is 6. So when I add those, ignore my equals, when I add those, that's going to be 10 over 15, which I can simplify because 5 goes into them both, which would be 2/3. Question for 24, y equals 1 over x. Which x gives the greatest value of y? Well, when I'm dividing, if I want the greatest value, I want to make that as small as possible. So you're out. A negative is going to give me a negative answer, so that's not going to be very big. So really, I need to find out what the smallest one is out of these two. So 2/5 is the same as 4/10, which would be 0.4. 9 over 20, if I pop that over 100, that's been times by 5. So that is 0.45. So the biggest one out of this two, it's not the biggest one I want though, is it, James? It's the smallest one I want. So the smallest one would be that one. So 2/5 is the one that I am after. Right, trig, exact values, tricky thing to remember, but easy mark if you can. Value of sine 90 is 1. Right, last question. I know that some of us weren't very happy to see this. If I've got a rectangle and I've got these two sides and I know the area is 120, can I find x? So I think to get the area, I'd times these together. So writing that as an expression, x plus 2, x minus 5 equals 120. That times that is 120. Expand that out. We'll just draw that quickly in the grid to help us see what's going on. So x plus 2 along the top, x minus 5 down the side. x times x is x squared, 2 times x is 2x, minus 5 times x, minus 5x, and minus 5 times 2 is minus 10. So if I put all that together, I've got x squared from there. Minus 5x add 2x would be minus 3x. Take away 10 equals 120. If I want to solve this, it'd be nice if I could factorise it. If I want to factorise it, I need to have it equal to 0. So the way I'm going to have that equal to 0 is to take away 120 from both sides. So if I take away 120 from both sides, I'll have x squared minus 3x minus 10 take away 120 is minus 130. So if I'm factorising this, I want two things to add to minus 3 and times to make minus 130. So straight away I'm thinking about factors of 130, numbers that go into with a difference of 3. So I think 10 and 13 have got a difference of 3. I want my number to be negative, so I'm going to need more negatives, so I think it's going to be minus 13. So if I write that in my factorised form, I've got x minus 13, x plus 10 equals 0. Just check, minus 13 add 10 is minus 3, nice. Minus 13 times 10, 100, minus 130, nice. So my solutions to this, remember if I'm solving this, these numbers are going to be the opposite. So x equals 13 or x equals minus 10. If I put minus 10 in there, minus 10 add 2 is minus 8. If you can imagine a rectangle with a side of minus 8, we can't really, can we? That'd be an incredible thing. So I think that x is 13. And that's it. Hope it went well for you today, guys. Catch you later.